he's just a great man. Yogi Berra. I mean, he was part of the staff. Everybody's heard of him, and he was one of my greatest hitting coaches I've ever had because he kept it simple, and I liked it simple. And he and I, he was one of my best friends and related. He'd be calling December 14th. My phone would ring and say, "Yogi Berra, hey kid, happy birthday." You know what I mean? Like those. So being around those guys, it was like I said, it was I couldn't put a price tag on it.
All right, so now I got it. Yogi's known for all of his yogiism. uh, he had to have given you a few throughout the years, right? Was there any, or is there any advice? Let's start with the hitting advice because you said simple.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
what was one of those things? Because at the end of the day, baseball, people can all say, "Hey, it's really hard to hit." Well, yeah, no crap, it's really hard to hit. If the pitcher does what he's supposed to do, you're going to get out. You could do everything right and still be out,
Yeah.
but the game is simple. What specifically was his messaging for you for hitting?
Yeah, so I mean, he knew me, and first of all, let me just say this about Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra, I mean, he gets criticized for his yogiisms, but I got to tell you something. He is one of the smartest baseball people that I've ever been around. That
Yeah,
man remembers like the Darn Larson game and then all the pitches that he called. Like he was like Rain Man when it comes. Like he knew. I mean, I know he had his yogiisms, but as far as a baseball guy, I mean, I know that MLB did a special on him, and I'm really glad that they did a special on him because his numbers are off the charts. And
yeah,
the stuff that he did in the game is off the charts, and you don't get that for just having yogiisms. I mean, he was smart at it, but getting back to the game itself, like he would come by me and he'd say, "Stay back, stay back." Like, what do you? So your viewers are out there watching. What do you mean, stay back? So I can run. So in your DNA, you when you're going bad, you try to run out of the box. You're running and hitting rather than staying back and hit. So if you're a guy that can't run, you're never thinking about running. You're just saying, "Yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm hitting, and then I'm going to run." But if you can run, you're like, when you're not feeling right, you start running and hitting. So he'd come by and just say, "Hey, stay back," because that means I kept charging the ball. Or he'd come back down and he'd go, "Keep two hands on the bat." So that goes back to the same thing where you're swinging and running at the same time rather than finishing your swing and then running. And it was like, okay, and then so he would have little things like that, that the little triggers for me that he could just see it as it happened and walk by, say it, and walk away. And you'd be like, ah, perfect. You didn't have to have it continue for 20 at bats, 30 at bats before somebody actually says something to you. So he was great, man. I love that man. Brilliant.
yeah. And the reason why I want to talk about yogiisms, that's just the fun part. That's just
It is
one
a fun
element
part.
of a unbelievable player man, right? People forget, they want to get caught up with that. Yeah, he was a damn good player and a damn good baseball mind. You use the word trigger. Like what's a word that kind of resonates with you? And I think that's one misconception throughout baseball. What I realized in pro ball is, and Zach, I kind of talked to
Mhm.
you about this. You got to find what works for you. And for Yogi telling you that phrase, "Hey, stay back," or "finish with two hands," you understood that. And fair to say, Craig, as well. Yeah, you wanted to maybe have mechanics, and everyone has different mechanics, but you had to understand what someone told you, and then also you would have to feel it to be able to kind of execute. Am I wrong with that kind of thought process?
No, you're 100% right. Yeah, I mean, once you know what you're doing, then you got to fix it. So it's a lot easier said than done. Like anybody, like somebody was asking me in spring training about what was your worst slump. I was like, oh, I think I was 0 for 32, and I was actually looking in the batters. I was looking in the box that the bats came in for the directions and how to use them because it didn't really matter. You couldn't get a hit. It's just part of baseball, but you just got to grind your way through it. And baseball will humble you every second that you play it and you're around it. But in general, when you have somebody that kind of can see things quickly or say something quickly, like we had a pitching coach one time. Like somebody said, go say something to this pitcher, and I was just a young kid, and he's like, well, I'll go say something when it needs to be said. And it's just kind of like, ooh, okay. So like rather than just going out there just for the sake of going out there, is like when something needs to be said, I'll say it when it's time to, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like there's so many things that go on in the baseball world that the average fan and person have no idea that go on.